Hello, hello, salud. I am the Rasta Witch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yan Sui Rasta, which is to say, my kind of Ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yan Sui witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Okay, today we are on the cards of the number 4. So here we've got in the Sephiroth Tarot the 4 of Wands, the 4 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, the 4 of Discs. In the Thoth deck we got the 4 of Wands, the 4 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, the 4 of Discs. In my deck, which is a combination of many of them, we've got the 4 of Wands from the Lord of the Rings Tarot, the 4 of Cups from the Rider-Waite, the 4 of Swords from the Crow's Magic Tarot, and the 4 of Pentacles from the Rider-Waite. Okay, so the number 4 is the first Sephira across the abyss, the 4th letter in the tetragram. Kesed is the corresponding Hebrew word. Kesed means in English mercy. So it's the feminine side of the Sephiroth. So when we were at number 1 and then number 2, number 3, number 2 and number 3 formed the polarity across the abyss. The right hand side, which was Kokma, was the masculine side of the polarity above the abyss, and then Bina, number 3, was the feminine side of the polarity above the abyss. Now we go to number 4, which is on the other side of the abyss, but on the other side of the abyss it switches. The right hand side becomes the feminine side of the Sephiroth all the way down to the bottom. From now on, the right hand side is the feminine side, and the left-hand side is the masculine side of the Sephiroth. So we are on number 4, which is the first number across the abyss, and it's the feminine side of the Sephiroth from now on. The corresponding planet is Jupiter. So Jupiter is a big deal. Jupiter is the biggest planet. Jupiter is so much bigger than the other planets that all the other planets fit inside Jupiter. So at number 3, remember we had the idea that started at number 1, unified through understanding, which is number 3. Bina means understanding in Hebrew. So we had all the, number 1, remember, was just an idea. Number 2, it was starting to kind of separate into wisdom. And then number 3, it unified everything because it was about ready to jump across the abyss to number 4, which is where we are now. So it was still across the abyss. Now we're at number 4, Kesed. Now we have the idea on our side of the abyss. So now we're on our side of the abyss. So it's the idea finally put into words. What's across the abyss is a little bit beyond our understanding, but now we're on the first number across the abyss, so it's put into words and language and understanding because it's on our side. The 4th letter of the tetragram, so remember the tetragram is Yod, Che, Vau, Che. And when the number 1, 2, and 3 are unified, you have manifestation of form. That's why the last letter is a repeat of the second, because it means manifest form, fire, water, air, and earth. So this is an earthy place to be. It's manifest. It's like a table. A table with 3 legs doesn't really stand up very good. But now we have 4 legs. So the number 4 is all about stability. So all these cards are about finding stability. Remember, we had number 1 is like the seed. Number 2, it was starting to take root. Number 3, it's barely starting to sprout up, and and then at number 4, now it's like a garden that's brand new. You know, it doesn't have the fruit or the vegetables on it yet, and it's not real big, but we're not so worried. Like at the beginning, you're worried that the seeds aren't even going to sprout. Your garden's not even going to work. But now you know your garden's going to work as long as you water it and take care of it. It's going to happen, you know. So Kesed is the feminine side, like I said, of the archetypal polarity. So number 4 here is the feminine side of the archetypal polarity. Number 5 will become, when we do number 5, that'll be the masculine side of the archetypal polarity. So an archetype is still above the self, you know. And we see this today. You know, it's with realizing that God is within, not a man in the sky, nor can a book be the literal word of that man in the sky, you know, like we used to think. Now, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's still an archetype, you know. So it still has that value, that way up their value, but it's not quite what it was before, you know. The tetragram is an archetype we don't know how to pronounce. You know, they say we don't even most people say it's Yahweh, but it's disputable. You know, we don't really know how to pronounce the archetype. It's still beyond us, you know. It's above the self, which is at number 6. Yet it lacks the masculine side of the archetypal polarity that we will get with number 5. So Kesed, number 4, mercy, is a retreat to a place of safety, an earthy place of stability. It's the 4th letter of the tetragram. It is the idea finally put into words. Yeah, I already said that, sorry. Okay, we better just move on. The 4 of Wands. Okay, so Wands, of course, is fire energy. So we see, and this one, this is the Thoth deck. It just has 4 wands, but usually most any deck on the 4 of Wands, it has a canopy with 4 wands. See, four things across it. This one's an even better. It's my favorite one. The 4 of Wands of the Sephiroth Tarot. That's the one. So this canopy, it's the Jewish canopy that they get married under, called the chuppah, Chuppa. So that's why 4 of Wands cards, it always shows the scene of people getting married under these 4 wands canopy thing, the chuppah. It's Venus in Aries, meaning completion and achievement. A wedding is a completion of youth and is an achievement, ideally. This is much like a wedding, this card. It's a celebration, success, delight, satisfaction, putting down roots, a new house. It might be an anniversary, zest for life. It's good to be alive. You know, it's an achievement. Here we have the 4 of Wands of the Lord of the Rings tarot. It says Gandalf tells Theoden that they must unite against Saruman and Mordor. Do you remember that part of the movie? It's a very pivotal point. It's a very big achievement point, you know. So all of the 4 cards, they're kind of like a moment to, it's kind of like a baby learning to walk, you know. It finally can walk, one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Then one day it's like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front, and it's out pretty far out from the parent, you know. And then, eventually they get more used to that kind of thing, and they think it's funny, and they try to run away, and you go get them. But at first, it's kind of, the baby would feel, wow, I've really gone far away. Am I safe? And then they think the danger's funny. Like I said, it's like that. It's like you've walked away, but it's kind of scary, you know. So because it's scary, because you're like the plant is grown and it's the garden started, but it's kind of scary because still something could happen to the garden. It's very young, you know. So it's kind of a moment of where you try to get more stable. It's the key word of all the 4 cards is the word stability, you know. So you know, here it is, that like the big war that's going to make such a big difference is about to happen. And Gandalf's, it's a major moment. It's a good moment, you know, because at first the king wasn't aware and wasn't going to make the necessary step, you know. Sometimes getting married is just the right step in a relationship, you know. It's just what you need. Some people, they'll be like ready to get married, but then they'll stay together for another 8 years before they actually get married. You know, they should have just got married, maybe, you know. It's an open opportunity, or it's closed security. A lot of these cards can kind of start to mean one thing and then it kind of means the opposite at the same time. It's a long-term commitment in a relationship, a completion after much work. You know, this is like pretty far along in the story in Lord of the Rings. Conclusions from previous knowledge, you know. But like a wedding, you know, sometimes you got to let others be a part of that stability that you're trying to form, you know. It's fun has a value too, you know. Express your love and appreciate the people that show up at your wedding, you know. It's a moment of celebration. Okay, now we'll move on to the 4 of Cups, which is Moon and Cancer, luxury. This cup, see all these cups that are full of water and overflowing, you know, luxury. So here in this cup, there we go. Here in this cup, a man is lost in his thoughts, trying to decide. One cup is magically offered, yet he wonders if the better choice is one of the other 3. The magically offered one might be poisoned, or something might be wrong with it. The moon is so remember, it's the moon in Cancer. The moon is hidden during the day, and Cancer represents feelings and the need for emotional support. You know, so here, the cup, something is being offered, but it is not a good time to rush into it. You know, but if you look at them, it can also mean, like I said, it can mean that. It can mean that it's the right time to stop and think about it, because that one cup might be poisoned, or it might be someone that's hung up on thinking too much about the past and thinking too much about the future, or both the past and the future, and he needs to lighten up and accept what the universe is offering him, you know. It's time but it is time to reflect, you know. It's a time to think about what is really important. You know, what's really important? What will have fulfillment? You know, think more like a child, but don't be so serious, because the right choice might be that one cup up there that's being offered to him. Help is at hand, you know. Intervention without the knowledge of where it comes. You know, but the seeds of decay in the fruits of pleasure. It might be the seeds of decay and the fruits of pleasure. You know, it might be the end of something good too. You know, it's a point to move on. Like I said, the baby learning to walk. All the 4 cards, you notice they all have that same thing in common. You know, they're this moment where you're about ready to move. Like a garden, when a garden's going, you know, you don't need to worry about the same things anymore. It's time to go to the next step. Okay, so now we're moving on to the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords is Jupiter and Libra. Truce. Jupiter brings the expansion in activities, ideas, or concerns. Libra reminds us to balance these against health, rest, and well-being. It's time to take a rest and restore, rejuvenate, and retreat. You know, if you look at the man laying down, he's not dead, because look, his hands are like that. This, at first when I used to look at this when I was new, I thought, oh, it's a dead man and it's a funeral or something, is what I thought, you know, but it's not. See how his hands are pointed up? He's taking a rest. He's sleeping. You know, so it's about restoring and rejuvenating, you know. Time to take a rest and restore, rejuvenate, retreat. Maybe a vacation is needed. Possibly you will need a hospital unless you take a moment to rest. So stop and realize what needs to be realized. You rest what needs to be rested. You know, healing from the wounds of a battle, or rest before the final onslaught, or rest from sorrow, or recovery from sickness, you know, or you're sick and the only way you can get over that sick is if you rest, or it's going to make you more sick. You know, like go to your happy place, Happy Gilmore. You know, get your mind, you know, it's the sword, so it's thinking in the mind. It's air, energy. So get your mind together. Take a chill pill, you know, sleep on it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, you know. Time to process it or to assimilate. Okay, the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is the Sun in Capricorn. It's power. And the Sun in Capricorn is the qualities of hard work can be a good asset to you. You know? So here you see that a man, that he's rooted, you know, in all these cards, it's about someone being rooted in your work and its reward. You know, it's all about economic stability, because it's pentacles, so it's stability and things, you know, like the previous card, the Four of Swords, like I said, it's get your thoughts together. It was stability in your thinking. The Four of Cups was stability in your feelings, you know, and Four of Wands was stability in your creativity and your fire energy. You know, this is stability in you know, what you can see, taste, touch, smell, you know, what you have, what you own, your money. It's about, you know, it's the person that takes too many notes in class, you know, or that is budgeting every penny real tight, you know, with, you know, because it's not just number 4. Remember the garden, it's there, so you're starting to get some money saved up, but you still, you know, you can still see the past and the future, because the future hasn't happened and the past was just the other day, you know. So, but it also, like I said, the 4s, it can mean kind of like one thing, but then it can kind of mean the opposite of that, you know, because it's kind of a really early place. We're only at number 4, you know. So here you can see, like, if you saw a guy like this, you would think, holy cow, dude, chill out, you know, and share what you have, you know. Like, look how tight he's got 4 pentacles, and instead of just putting them all together, you know, if you put them all together on your lap, one of them might fall on the floor. So he's got one under each foot. He's holding one real tight and then the other up on his head, you know, where he can see you coming at, you know. So it's like, it can mean like, don't be so possessive about what you have, you know. It's clinging to old things that are no longer needed, you know. It can mean like lighten up in that kind of a way, you know, holding strongly or too strongly to your beliefs, you know. But it's mostly about building a secure future, a gain of money or influence, you know, or earthly power. But it's, you know, gaining earthly power, but nothing beyond, you know. So look at the city behind him, you know. There's, you know, he's part of this community, but he's too worried about this, you know. He needs, you know, he doesn't need to make a strong part of his community later, but, you know, just don't take the moment too serious. All the 4 cards are kind of about that, aren't they, you know? If you taking the moment too serious can be a bad thing, but it's an important moment. It is time to gain stability. Okay, so there was the fours. So next time we will do the fives. I hope you enjoyed the fours today.